Okay, welcome back. I want to talk about different ammunition. A lot of people perceive things to be different about ammunition. For instance, people think that grain is a measure of gunpowder, and just that. Well, that's not necessarily true. Grain usually means the weight of the bullet, the size of the bullet, the mass. So there's just different things that people don't understand, and I want to clarify and talk about those things. Today I have 6 different calibers to show you. Each one of them is very different. Each one of them has different features and different uses, different reasons for using them. So we'll talk about what we have here first. We have a 22 cal long rifle, just a standard. This is a 9mm round, 9x19 Luger. This one is a 40 cal Smith & Wesson, your standard. This is a 45 gap, not a 45 ACP, but a 45 gap. This is a 223 or 5.56 round. In the civilian world, they call it 223. In the military world, they call it 5.56. And then we also have a 6.8 special Remington round. Okay, 22 long rifle. Mostly used in rifles, as the name tells you. It's rim-fired, which means that it is not center-fire. Center-fire means that a firing pin comes out and hits directly in the same location every time. With the rim-fire cartridge, it actually hits anywhere on this base plate, which is the primer of the casing. And the casing is one entire complete unit. Then within it, of course, is the powder, and then this is the bullet itself at the tip. And that is a 22 round. Very fast, not very powerful. Obviously, it's a very small bullet. It will still kill you, I guarantee that. But it is not as lethal as most other bullets. This is one of the probably least lethal bullets. Still lethal. This is a 9mm. Many law enforcement agencies use it. The military uses it. The Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Air Force. Standard pistol round. This is ball. As you can tell, it's not hollow point. It's just your standard full metal jacket. At the end, you can see the primer. This is center fire. This is the difference. You can tell the difference between the two. This is rim fire here, and this is center fire. You can see the primer. This one, the whole base of the casing is a primer. So every time this one is fired, the firing pin will hit in the same location. This is a 40 cal Smith & Wesson. This also is center fire, as you can tell. This is a pistol round that many law enforcement agencies use. Military doesn't really use this unless you're within an elite special forces group. But Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, they pretty much don't ever use this round for the most part. That is a 40 cal round. 45 gap, same thing, center fire. 45, bigger round. This is a snub nose round. It's flattened just like the 40. Full metal jacket, ball, ammunition. So it's just copper with lead inside of it, and it is just a little bit bigger than a 40 cal. Yeah. As a 223 or 5.56 in the civilian world, let's clarify. In the civilian world, a 5.56 round usually tends to be more powerful than a 223 round. They put more powder, more explosives within the casing, so the bullet gets a little bit more energy leaving that barrel. A 223 round usually has a little bit less, but for the most part, they are very similar. 5.56 is 5.56 millimeters by 45 millimeters. 223 is obviously in the U.S. Measuring system. 5.56 by 45 millimeters NATO, and that is in the international metric system, European metric system. This is also center fire. Now this round is fairly small. The casing is very large. but this round is actually just about as big as a 22. 223, 0.22, 0.223, 0.22. Very similar, just a tad bit bigger. Obviously, this one has much more power behind it. 6.8. This is a round that wasn't very popular. It's becoming a little bit more popular, but still not quite at the top. This is also centerfire, and it is slightly larger than the 223 round, as you can tell. 6.8. The interesting thing about 6.8 is I fired this out of my AR-15. My AR-15 is a 6.8. It's a bigger round. It's a bigger casing, which means that the round, because it's usually when it's bigger, it means that there's more mass in the round. That means there's more power behind the bullet. There's 40% more